Hello and welcome to episode 4 of The Chirp. I'm Noah Johnson alongside Aiden Doyle, and we're going to pick up where we left off last week. Aiden, go ahead and tell us about what we were talking about.
Well, I had this discussion with a few of my friends here in Syracuse. Out of all the teams that you're a fan of, like for me, it's the Yankees, Giants, Rangers, and then in college, well, obviously Syracuse football, basketball, and then my two teams from before coming to Syracuse, the UNC Tar Heels in basketball and the Alabama Crimson Tide in college football.
Mm-hmm.
Out of those, where do you rank them? I guess is which one are you most passionate for? Your rooting interest is the strongest with. You can kick it off.
You ask him. Oh, my opinion. Do I have to say why?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, a little bit of insight.
I'll go Red Sox, Mariners, Patriots, Bruins, Celtics. And I suppose the only reason I can think of is that's just my preferred sports in order, I guess.
Now, where do your college allegiances come in there?
Oh, and also Swansea City. I like soccer. Probably, I mean, it's right for me. It's right there with basketball, and I probably like it more than hockey. But I suppose because that's not a local team, it doesn't feel as. I think whether like favoritism in terms of sports and if they're a local team, I think plays a part if you're going to play this game. College teams, I don't have any allegiance in college football. I guess I'd have to basketball. Maryland and Providence would be in that order. I know it's an interesting question. I never really thought about it before, but when you asked, because we talked about this at the end of the show last week, my thought process was, if any of my favorite teams could win a championship, which one would it be? And then it just going down the line in terms of that. So that's my, what was that, 8, I guess? Red Sox, Mariners, and baseball would be my favorite sport. What? Go ahead.
Before you got the college teams in there, you had Red Sox, Mariners, Patriots, Bruins, Celtics.
Yeah, and then Swansea in soccer, and then Maryland basketball and Providence basketball. I don't know. I have had the pleasure of 4 of those teams. The 4 being from New England, first of all. I have had the privilege of having all 4 of the major sports teams win a championship in my lifetime that I can remember. So, I don't know. It's just the list. I never thought to list them just because I'd already experienced it, which is part of being a incredibly spoiled New England sports fan. But go ahead. Yeah, I'm sure you'll have a much more insightful answer than I did.
Well, I'm sure you can guess my number 1.
Yankees.
Far and away. And I just put it on my screen. I have Yankees, then a huge gap.
Yeah, I'm curious. I want to know number 2 because I don't know what you'd pick for number 2.
I want to hear your guess.
Gosh. I don't think it's the Rangers.
It's not.
I don't think it's an NBA team.
No, I don't have a favorite NBA team.
So it's either the Giants or Alabama.
It's the Giants.
Okay.
I put the Giants at 2, and I think part of that is because a lot of people who we've grown up with, football is the most popular sport in the country.
Yeah,
and a lot of Patriots fans. So like, whenever I want to see those, actually, in my mind, I want to see the Red Sox fans lose. And the Red Sox fans are all Patriots fans. So in my mind, I want the Patriots to lose.
Doesn't it pain you that Red Sox Yankees, and this is something I'm sure we're going to talk about before the season starts, but that Red Sox Yankees just
isn't the same?
It's not the same, is it?
A kid on my floor is from just west of Boston, big Red Sox fan. He goes, you know something? I want to see, I want the first. He wants Price to throw at A-Rod or Sabathia to throw at like Ortiz or something, just to get something
Yeah,
going.
get something. It's almost. It's not boring, but
It doesn't have the same aura of like. Well, and I think you have to chalk some of that up to, well, actually most of it, to the fact that neither one of them has been competitive in the same year since 2011. And I mean, even then, 2011, the Red Sox choked. '09, it still wasn't the same because the players on each team don't hate each other. I mean, they don't like each other, but think about it, Ortiz and A-Rod are the only two of them left from the mid 2000s.
Yeah, I was gonna 03 to '07 was the golden era for us, at least, of that.
Yeah,
but no, I think that's no, you're right. And listen, due to the fact that there's no intensity, like the 10-hour games are almost intolerable now.
Yeah,
I don't understand how they're still so long if like the rivalry's gone. Like, I'm not saying the rivalry's gone, but it's not the same
or anything.
Yeah. So I don't know.
But I also want to emphasize that as much as I do love the Giants, the Yankees are far and away.
No, I'm very aware.
I literally put in all caps in bold, huge gap between 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
So mine is Yankees, huge gap, Giants, then Alabama football.
I'm good. I know you.
Then the Rangers, and then not a huge gap, but a gap. And then it's a tie. I honestly didn't know which one to choose here between Syracuse basketball and UNC basketball. Because, I mean, Syracuse at least is, well, forget what we saw today, and I'll say good at basketball. But I've also always grown up rooting for UNC, but I don't really have a family connection there. I just like rooting for them. And
who did you root for when they played this year?
I mean, I had my Syracuse stuff on, but I wasn't.
Your heart wasn't in it.
Yeah, when UNC. I mean, I don't know. I didn't really care. I mean, I kind of expected, as I think everyone did, UNC to win both games, which they did. So, I mean, if they were competitive, and I think it was a close game coming down to the end, I think I'd probably be pulling for Syracuse simply because I don't want to get beat up by the kids here. But
yeah, you can't wear that Jordan jersey around.
No, you know something? That's one thing that it's a great jersey, and jerseys are a huge thing in college apparently. And I didn't bring it because I'm like, well, it's another ACC team. When I've seen kids walking around here with Duke sweatshirts, Florida State. Saw somebody in a UNC sweatshirt. Others, I'm like, what are you guys wearing? I mean, you may not even be a fan of Syracuse. You may have grown up rooting for Duke, but you don't have to broadcast it everywhere you go.
That's a little surprising to me.
Yeah. So number 5 is a tie between Syracuse and UNC basketball, and then there is another huge gap, and then it's Syracuse football. Because
no NBA team.
Care. No, I do not have a favorite NBA team. I root for certain players to do well. I have favorite players, but I don't have an allegiance to a team. Tim's always been a big Celtics fan.
Yeah. But
I always found it hard when the kids who are rooting for the Red Sox, who I hated growing up, are rooting for the Celtics. Why am I going to root for them?
Mm-hmm.
And then I never got into the Knicks or anything like that, or the Nets or anything.
It's tough to get into the Knicks.
Yeah. That's easier said than done.
Yeah. Okay.
So those are my 6. Well, 7 teams and 6 spots.
6 spots. All right, we good? We got both of us. Baseball takes priority, which is actually regular season less than a month away.
Can't wait. Actually threw today and it felt great. Felt fantastic. Broke out the glove. I was throwing the ball pretty well, but I mean, when it's 77 degrees up here in Syracuse, it's kind of hard.
For the one day when it's 77.
Walking across the quad. I didn't know that many people went here. The quad was packed with people. Just thousands of people. I literally did not know that many people went here.
The funny thing is, it's probably going to be snowing on opening day up there.
There's a lot of kids here were like, oh man, winter's finally over, and I'm like,
no, that's not.
I mean, it's nice to think that way, and I mean, based off of what this winter has been, you could say that, but at the same time, it's very possible we get snow after spring break.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. But
But
hopefully we don't. Hopefully it stays nice and warm.
first order of business before baseball starts, we still have college basketball. It
We
is
do.
championship week.
It is
And
championship week, and Syracuse is already out.
yeah, that I wasn't going to start with that until this afternoon when they lost, and I said, "All right, we have to start with that." Where does Syracuse stand? Out in the second round. What was the score? 72-71?
Well, not in the second round. That was well, technically the second. No.
Technically the second round. It is their first game,
Yes. Oh,
but
well,
it was in the second
no,
round. They lost
the
their
same
first
thing.
game. They lost their first game.
Yes, they did not win a game in the ACC tournament.
No, they lost to Pitt.
They look
But-
awful.
So, where are they in terms of the bracket? Where do you have them right now? Give me some insider analysis.
At best, in 11 with a play-in game. Worse, they're out.
Really?
Yes, they should not. Based on how they've played recently, they shouldn't be in the tournament. But the wins over Duke, Notre
That
Dame,
helps.
those
Duke actually ended up helping them out.
yeah, Duke played well recently. You know, when we beat Duke, they were on this horrible stretch, and it was like, oh well, maybe they're just going to be awful. I mean, we've beaten Texas A&M. We beat at the time a ranked UConn team. We beat a ranked Notre Dame team. We beat Duke, obviously. We've kept it competitive twice with UNC and Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
Yet we lose to St. John's. So
Yeah, that one stings. And
don't
just-
even go there.
little aside, Duke won a squeaker today, huh?
Yeah.
Against NC State by
My
3.
dad was watching. Well,
My goodness.
Cal Barber was he led the ACC in scoring. He tore up Duke today, but
He was a
it
good
was-
player. He
it
was a good
was-
player in the tournament last year.
Kennard and Ingram that really put Duke on the. I mean, Allen played well, but it was Ingram and Kennard that won that game for him.
Mm-hmm. How confident are you about Syracuse? Like,
Going into the tournament
yeah, what is the level of confidence?
on a scale of what?
I don't know, 1 to 16.
-4.
-4. Well, they're 19-12, right, to end the season.
Yes.
All right. 9-9 in the conference. They have the benefit of playing in one of the best conferences in the country.
Yeah. No,
So-
19-13. Excuse me.
And they do have 4 wins against RPI top 50. Right?
They didn't exactly help themselves by finishing the way that they did.
No. But
2 losses to Pitt, loss to Florida State. No one's going to care about like we said, the loss at UNC or the loss at Louisville.
No, but let's look at the positives, though, right? They beat St. Bonnie's.
It was just a solid win.
Yeah, they beat Texas A&M, they beat Notre Dame, and at Duke is the crowning jewel
They beat
at the
let's
moment.
say A&M, Duke, and Notre Dame.
Yes,
Those are your 3.
correct. I don't think the 3 Pitt losses are horrible, right? I don't think they're horrible. I don't think the Georgetown loss is horrible.
It depends on what the committee and the committee has said that they will take into account the fact that they played 9 games without Boeheim. And that Hopkins.
That's interesting. I didn't hear that. That's interesting. So do you agree with that? Should that be taken into account?
It's slightly biased for me to talk, but yeah, I think it should be. I mean, they're a different team.
Because this is similar. Did we talk about? We might have talked about this last week. I don't remember. We talked about it in one of the shows. This is kind of similar to the Ben Simmons thing, where it's and right now, LSU, and I think we'll get to LSU. LSU's out right now,
As they should be.
Unless the only way that they get in my
That
opinion,
they have a deep SEC tournament run, beating
I think they have
Ole Miss,
they have to make the final.
and
I
then
think they
lose
have
to
to-
Kentucky.
Win or lose, I think they'll be. Well, win obviously they're in. Lose, we'll see.
Yeah.
But when LSU was on the bubble, that was kind of the same thing when we were saying, should LSU having Ben Simmons be a reason for the committee to put LSU in? Because compare them to a team like St. Bonnie's or Tulsa, right?
Which doesn't have the star power, but
Right.
has a better resume.
Yeah, well, let's say the resumes are relatively equal, right? And I think we agreed that LSU should be in because of Ben Simmons, because in theory, Ben Simmons makes LSU a better team, and they can
say it's a greater chance of pulling off an upset simply because of Ben Simmons.
And that's the point of the tournament. You want competition.
Yeah.
So, by a similar note, I think the overall picture there was, can one individual, considering this is a team sport, can one individual be a deciding factor from like an ethical standpoint? Because I have no problem with that, and I'd rather see LSU with Ben Simmons in than Tulsa without a Ben Simmons if it came down to the two of them. So, taking it back to Syracuse, does the fact that Boeheim not being there, should that from an ethical standpoint influence the committee?
Yes, because I think a coach is a part of a team.
Right. Right, okay. I suppose it is a little different.
You look at Duke or UNC or Virginia or, Kansas, whomever. If you take away Bill Self for 9 games, is Kansas the same team?
Well, they're not going to go 4-5.
By the way, right now I want to hear just, if you had to choose a team, if you were filling out a bracket right now, who's your
Kansas.
champion? Mine's Michigan State.
That's actually my final. Kansas, Michigan State.
I choose Michigan State. I love Michigan State this year.
I do too. I've been saying it all year. The best team in the Big Ten. I have no problem with that pick. I could easily say it being Michigan State. I think right now those, for me, clearly both of them are number ones. I think Michigan State, if they slip up, might early in the Big Ten tournament may drop to a 2, but they should be a 1.
They'll be fine either way.
Yeah, it's a
Tom Izzo and Michigan State.
Great tournament team. They have the history. Denzel Valentine is one of the best players in the country. He's phenomenal. They are. And as good as Valentine is, I get the feeling when I watch them, it's more of a
team effort.
They don't lean on one or two players.
He feeds off of other people, and not saying that he can't do it himself if he has to. But he doesn't go into a game thinking, all right, I'm going to drop 40 this game. He goes with the flow of the game.
Mm-hmm. Very good tournament team, and they're hot right now. They had their rough patch in the middle of the season.
It did.
Comparing that to Maryland, who is in the middle of a
horrific
free fall. Which, I mean, I'm not going to get mad about that, about the Indiana game. Which, by the way, I've been hyping up Indiana for a few weeks.
The entire season.
Yeah. And listen, they're right there. They're a 3 seed, or 3 or 4 right now. I like Indiana also to make, not Final Four, but to make a run. But I agree with that. Michigan State, I think, Final Four team, and I also like Kansas. Besides that, I have no idea.
I think this is the year where no one has any idea.
Yeah, I don't. Well, do you want to transition into this? Transition from Q's into the potential bracket.
Sure, because I'm sick and tired of talking about. I talked about Syracuse with my dad today. Just
okay.
I don't want to talk about them anymore.
Before we end, quickly, are they in or out right now?
Out. They should be out.
They should be out. Okay. Moving on. Let's start with this. We've established Kansas and Michigan State are number ones. Who are your 2 other number ones right now?
Villanova and Kansas, or in Virginia.
I could buy that. Do you think Xavier? I actually probably agree with that.
UNC at a 2.
Do you
Xavier at a 2?
Do you think, though, Xavier, Oklahoma, or North Carolina could play their way into a number one?
They'd have to win their respective tournaments.
Right. Actually, this is more of a question about Xavier, to be honest, because I think if Oklahoma wins their tournament, beating Kansas along the way, they have a strong case. I think if North Carolina,
I think that's one of the things that's holding Oklahoma back. I mean, there are a couple other things, but they haven't beaten Kansas yet.
No, they probably play him 2 more times. They'll probably play in the tournament, to be honest. I don't.
Yeah.
How great of a matchup would that be? Oh my goodness.
What I want to see is a Kansas-Oklahoma Big 12 final, and then a Kansas-Oklahoma championship.
Don't you want to see
4 matchups of those two?
Oh my God! Don't you want to see Duke UNC for the national championship? That's another team.
No, as a UNC, no.
That's another team. I think Duke is another team that can make a run.
They'll either make a run or they'll lose to Mercer or Lehigh in the first round.
That's how it goes. That's how it goes for them. Back to Xavier. Do you think even if they beat Nova and win the Big it would have to be in the Big Ten final, do you think that they have a legitimate shot at a 1?
I mean, I think they have a shot because it's all about, you want to have your losses early, not late. The same thing with college football. So, I absolutely they have a shot. Personally, I would still choose Villanova over Xavier.
I would too. I totally agree with that.
But I think I wouldn't be necessarily surprised nor angry, shocked, upset if the committee chose Xavier.
Yeah, no, listen. I think we talked about this last week, but Xavier's upset bait, and with that in mind, and they have beaten some good teams, some real good teams, but I mean, I wouldn't put them at a 1. I wouldn't feel comfortable if I was the committee putting them at a 1. When you've got teams like Oklahoma and North Carolina and Virginia, Villanova, did I say Villanova already? I don't remember.
Yeah.
Virginia, Villanova, Oklahoma, North Carolina. I don't think, and it kind of comes down to conference and name recognition. I don't think they really stack up with those 4.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
You want to know a fun fact?
Give me a fun fact.
So, Brianna Stewart, transitioning, still college basketball, just different gender.
Yeah.
In her last 113 games at UConn, they've won 112 of them, which in itself is just...
Yeah, absurd.
Yeah, like, what?
Yeah.
But here's the more bizarre part.
Okay.
Out of those 112 wins, every single one of them has been by double digits. And think about all the matchups.
Really?
Out of their last 113 games.
No way. Are you serious?
They've either lost or won by 10 or more points.
Wow.
I mean, it just made me think of when you threw it back to when we had our debate with the Dukes of Sports, when you were still bread and butter, and you said there isn't enough parity in women's college sports to call Gino the best coach. And
there isn't.
No, I agree, and that's a perfect stat to show you is that they lose one game, but other than that, they're head and shoulders above everybody else.
Double digit, all 112 double digit wins. Wow, that's
impressive.
That's more than impressive. That's ridiculous. That's like not even sports anymore, because part of the definition of sports is competition. It's like...
Oh, think about it. The first game of the season this year, UConn played Ohio State at Ohio State. Ohio State was the number 7 team in the country. They beat them by 44.
Seems about right. Oh, God. I don't... It's... That is what, right there, in a nutshell, is what pushes me away from really following women's basketball.
Is that it's UConn and everybody else?
Yeah, it's... Well, I mean, we had Baylor for a couple years, right? And
Yeah, well, when
Stanford was
Brittany Griner
there.
was there.
It's not even close, though. You already know what's going to happen before, and it's not like this is like European soccer, right? They're
Yeah,
like Bayern Munich, and the rest of the field is like the rest of the Bundesliga in Germany, right?
yeah,
Right, because they just don't lose. They don't lose, and that's a perfect example because when they go away to play another top team, and there's all this hype, like is this gonna be the time? And then they win by 44.
yeah. And they have the number 3 recruit in the country coming in next year.
Of course they do.
Actually, they have the number 3 person, and then they don't have anyone else in the top 100.
Isn't it? It won't matter.
I say, yeah, they'll have.
Do you?
Actually, fun fact: their number 2 recruit next year.
Yeah.
She's a 90 overall according to ESPN.
Mm.
She's from Centerville.
Oh, on Cape Cod.
Yeah, her name's Molly Bench. She goes to Tabor Academy.
Oh,
Yeah, so
that's interesting.
there you go.
Yeah, that's a little local tidbit right there. So, gosh, I lost my train of thought thinking about UConn. I mean, at least the state has this, right? There's not much in Connecticut.
Yeah,
It's weird because if you think of the big programs in collegiate sports, like traditionally in like football, excluding like Army and Navy, it's like USC, right, in Florida. And schools from places, Miami, right, Notre Dame,
yeah,
places where the athletes would want to go. So I guess you have to give some credit to, I guess, Gino and UConn for making a program in Storrs, Connecticut be the number 1 destination for women's basketball.
I have no idea how Syracuse recruits. None.
They do have name recognition, though.
Yeah, I know, but how'd they get name recognition?
It's all the old Big East, right?
Yeah.
Because they were one of the original teams, and that was the original East Coast. Well, actually, when was ACC a huge deal in basketball? Big East.
No, the Big East was always the conference.
Right. Unfortunately, not anymore. I don't. I would guess it would be that, right? You attract people from being the first major East Coast basketball conference.
Yeah.
So right place at the right time.
Yeah.
Right place
They win somewhat.
Yeah, they do, and they have history on their side too. All right. I had this written down. I wanted to run this by you. There's a couple of specifics we get into, but first, give me like a short list of teams, especially now that Syracuse is out, that must have big tournaments in order to get in. Not necessarily win, but some major, sub-major conference teams that really have to, take it to the semifinal or final for a chance. With the exception of LSU.
Monmouth has to get in.
Uh-huh. Well, they're out.
But they can still get in as an at-large bid.
They can.
Oh, well. All right, so we're not talking about bubble teams. We're talking about teams that are still playing then.
Correct. Well, teams on the bubble that are still playing. As far as Monmouth goes, I think they should be. I think they're
Connecticut
safe.
can make a run. UConn.
Yeah.
Speaking of UConn.
Okay.
Which actually would help Syracuse because we beat them earlier in the year when they were ranked.
Hmm.
So if they win, make a run, get in, then it makes our resume look better.
Looks good for Syracuse.
Right. Maybe a Florida or a Michigan could sneak in, but I doubt it.
Michigan was a team that I had on my list because I think they can.
I mean, it's going to take some luck and
right, but that's a good team. When they're playing well, that's a good team. That's a real good team. They, I mean, I don't know how impressive it looks now, but they did beat Maryland, and they almost beat them a second time away. And the way the Big Ten has gone this year, I, with the exception of Michigan State, because I don't really Michigan, with the exception of Michigan State and Indiana, because I don't know if anyone's going to beat those two right now except for one another. But
Yeah.
I could see them go to the semifinals if they get a favorable matchup in the Big Ten tournament. And I honestly, that's what it's going to take, because they're a little not super far out, but they're on that second tier behind UConn and Tulsa. There's another team in Tulsa who needs to have a big tournament as far as not being in yet. But yeah, I mean, I guess we'll have to see. They should beat Northwestern right in their first game, and then and then it's Indiana in the second game.
Yeah.
So I mean, if they do manage to beat Indiana, which I don't see happening, I think it's certainly looking a lot better. But I don't know. We'll have to see. But definitely Michigan. I think Michigan, out of all the teams, is one of the teams that has the talent to actually make a run and sneak in.
Michigan's, I mean, they've done it before.
Yeah.
I think that obviously they don't have Nick Stauskas or, Tim Hardaway Jr. or Mitch McGarry or anyone like that, but Trey Burke.
As I said, Trey Burke is long gone.
I think, I don't know, I could see them sneaking it, but again, they need some help from other teams.
Yeah, and they're not getting help from like Iona and Northern Iowa. There have been, and I think those are the only two so far, but maybe there's more. I have to look. It's very professional. I think a few teams, and this always is and this is also going to hurt Syracuse. It's these minor conferences with a team who won the regular season title, who is clearly going to get in, right? Or is right, or is on the inside of the bubble, who end up losing to kind of a dark horse, and that removes an at-large bid. So, because we've already seen that with Iona, right? And which I just said this, Iona and Northern Iowa, and we know Wichita State and potentially Monmouth are both going to get in. So, I mean, I still think a 2 is kind of a normal number. So I still would consider, personally, I think Syracuse is in right now. I mean, by the skin of their teeth.
I would say I don't know. Well, it also depends on how the rest of the tournaments play. Right now, I guess you could make the case that they're one of the last 4 in, which I know Joe Lenardi has them as the last team in, like the last team.
Mm-hmm. And benefiting them also is the other teams around them. There are not many teams from major conferences that they're competing with, right?
Yeah.
I'm looking at the list right now. St. Bonnie's, Monmouth, St. Mary's, UConn, Tulsa, Valpo, George Washington. So I think playing in the ACC should give them a bit of a bump. But I mean, it's really close.
It's about as close as you can get.
Yeah. But I mean, right now, I mean, like, I'd put them in over Valparaiso or Tulsa.
Well, they're an interesting team because I know I've mentioned this before, but they're so reliant on their 3-point shooting.
Yeah.
That if they're hot, they could win the play-in game and upset the 6 or 5 or whatever seed they're playing.
Yeah, that's prime upset territory.
If they're hot, they could be a Sweet 16 team. If they play like they have been, they'll
lose by 30 in the first game.
I say in the play-in game.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Syracuse is interesting. And they're almost more interesting than bubble teams in recent years because they are from such a big conference and they have such a big name and they've been so streaky. So,
Freaky is an understatement.
so honestly, I think if you're Syracuse, you have to hope that the committee takes into account that you can go on a run,
Yeah,
despite the fact that you haven't
we said that we
recently.
didn't.
Yeah, but I mean, I will see. It's interesting. I am disappointed LSU isn't really in the picture anymore. I wanted to see Ben Simmons in the tournament.
Yeah, it would have been nice.
It would have.
But hey, anything can happen on Selection Sunday. Remember, was it last year where Southern Methodist? No, 2 years ago, SMU was held out. They were ranked.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Do you remember
They
that?
were ranked.
That was
It was
absurd.
like, oh well, they were ranked.
I don't. I don't think. I think they were. They weren't even like 25, were they? Weren't they higher?
But they were like 23 or something like
Yeah.
that.
How on earth? Yeah, you never know.
Yeah,
You never know. Right now, I think though. I think Pitt's another bubble team.
it
Looking at
should get in.
Pitt should get in. I think USC is okay. I think St. Joe's and VCU are both okay. Right.
Yeah,
The bubble teams right now in that mix is Syracuse, Monmouth, St. Bonnie's, St. Mary's, UConn, Oregon State, and depending on conference runs, Tulsa, Florida, Michigan. That's kind of the picture.
yeah,
I like Monmouth, Syracuse, honestly, UConn, and take your pick between St. Bonnie's and St. Mary's.
yeah.
So
St. Bonnie's
yeah,
always.
I'd probably pick St. Bonnie's too. Though I have trouble knocking St. Mary's too much for losing West Coast Conference title game to Gonzaga. So I don't know. It's really close. For whatever reason, it feels even closer than it usually does this year. Maybe just the pool of teams is larger. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see this coming Sunday. I did, because we talk about LSU a little bit, and this is probably the most we're ever going to talk about LSU basketball again until they get another Shaq 15, 20 years from
Yeah,
now. Ben Simmons by LSU has been declared ineligible for the Wooden Award, academic reasons.
Oh God.
So, give me. Do you have any thoughts on that decision?
I know they have the technicality where like the Wooden Award only factors in the GPA, and then in order to blah 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 blah. How are you ineligible for the Wooden Award yet you're eligible to play?
That's a good point. That's a really good point.
So you're not going. And then he admitted, he goes, I missed some classes, which, by the way, everybody misses classes. Going to a major Division I school,
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
it's not exactly like you're in there every day taking notes, raising their hand, answering questions.
Hmm.
But then he made some snide comment, well, if this is somebody else, it's not a big issue. It's like, you haven't earned anything yet, Ben.
Well, first of all, let's be clear. He did not go to LSU for the education.
That is true.
You make a really good point. How is he eligible? I'll tell you why he's eligible to play. Actually, it's because LSU wants to get in the tournament.
Yeah, LSU knows he's their only shot at getting it, which would then generate more revenue, which is exactly what they're interested in.
Right. Gosh, I mean, he wouldn't. This is almost, to a degree, this is almost a non-story because he wouldn't win it this year anyway. I mean, I don't think, as talented as he hasn't been the best player in college basketball this year.
No, Buddy Hield has.
Right. I totally agree with that. I don't even think he's. I would have trouble putting him in the top. Maybe he is top 5. He's not top 3. Because I think
He's the one with the most pro potential.
that's true. I mean, he's still rough around the edges, certainly. But I agree with that. He has the most pro potential. But I almost take, with an award like this, don't you take into account, like, helping your team win? Because he hasn't, and I understand if you play for a small school or like a lesser program in a big conference, but especially being with LSU, though it is not a basketball school, it's a football school.
Yeah.
But I feel like they were in a position this year to compete for SEC title and really underperformed. And even before the SEC schedule, I mean, they lost to College of Charleston.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't even consider him because I don't think he did enough. I understand the stats look great, but I don't think he did enough on the court to really be considered for the award. And I still hope he goes to the Celtics.
Yeah.
I'm rooting against the Nets. I want that number 1 draft pick. But as talented as he is, like, again, as you said, Buddy Hield's Player of the Year. And I don't think he's, been on the same level as someone like Denzel Valentine or quietly one of the best players in the country, Chris Dunn in Providence. Maybe not Melo Trimble, who I think, again, I've said this before, I think he didn't live up to expectations, especially shooting-wise. But I don't know. That's just my thought. They're not. LSU's not in the tournament, and Ben Simmons ineligibility shouldn't have even been an issue. He shouldn't have been even in the Wooden Award conversation.
Yeah. Also, my other thing is, if part of the Wooden Award criteria that they have to be, which is what kept Simmons out, is like a exemplary character on and off the court. How is Grayson Allen in there?
Oh, you're just salty. You don't like him.
He tripped 2 people on purpose.
It wasn't as bad as that kid from Oregon State who tripped the ref.
That is true.
Yeah. I don't know. He looks the part, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He looks like a Duke basketball player, and
I was talking to my dad. He goes, I hate that kid.
Of course he did.
I made the documentary. I hate Christian Laettner. This kid is the new version of. He goes, he's the typical.
I'm not saying I'm a huge Grayson Allen fan by any stretch of the imagination, but I guess I see your point. So yeah. What have we learned? We learned that the Wooden Award means nothing because they get all the candidates wrong.
Yeah.
Is that where this is going? All the Grayson. I don't remember what game it was, but I talked to you after one of the games. What was it? He traveled before hitting the game-winning shot?
Yes, he absolutely traveled.
You were not a happy camper. Oh my god.
It was nonsense.
Who were they playing? What game was that?
They were playing. Oh boy, who were they playing?
Somebody in the ACC.
Grayson Allen travel.
Yeah, Google it.
Virginia. They were wearing the Duke They were wearing the black no, they weren't black against UNC.
Okay.
They wore the white. Yeah, that was nonsense. Virginia should have won that game.
Not gonna matter. They're probably still gonna be a 1 seed anyway. No, and I agree. I think we can agree. Virginia's a better team. Quickly before we transition from college basketball, because right now it's basically all speculation, and when we have the show the day after Selection Sunday, we'll have a much clearer picture of what's going on.
Yeah.
Two things. Number one, congratulations, I guess, to Boston College for being the first team in the ACC to
If
go
that's what you want to call it.
right to go 0-19 in basketball and also go 0-8 in football.
It's impressive.
The two biggest money grabbers in terms of collegiate sports for a major conference school, and they, including the conference the conference championship week game against North Carolina, which they lost by 22. They go a combined 0-27. Which
It happens.
yeah, it doesn't happen. It only happens if you're DePaul. It shouldn't.
It shouldn't happen.
It shouldn't happen. Which maybe it's time for BC to think about a smaller conference. I mean, because I can't. Part of me can't blame them, and they were bad this year, but recruiting wise, they're competing with Duke, Virginia, North Carolina, Miami. I mean, Syracuse, who certainly draws in more basketball talent. They're in an almost unfair position. I feel like recruiting for those two sports when you're Boston College,
They'd have to dominate the Northeast. They have to get everything in the Northeast.
Right. Which they're not going to do because, I mean, Syracuse is in the Northeast, UConn's in the Northeast. I mean, just thinking about like New England and New York.
And I mean, even then, in basketball, Kentucky can pull from anywhere. Duke can pull from anywhere. Jaleel Okafor is from Chicago. Does anyone from the south side of Chicago ever gone to Duke before?
They're just in a tough position. And I think this year showed that. So, well, I'm sure they won't think about switching conferences because all the money is in the ACC compared to, the Patriot League or something. And honestly, everything still goes through football.
Yes, football still dominates.
And they'd have to drop to Division 1A if they or go to the AAC. But that's neither here nor there. I just think I expect them to stay in the ACC for better or for worse, and this might be kind of a reflection, maybe not to this extreme, but kind of what we see down the road for them. Just because if I were being recruited for college basketball or college football, and again, it's like, would you rather go to Boston College or Miami?
Yeah.
Right,
and that's actually I had this. I always bring this up. I know I brought it up with Nate before. I brought it up with a few kids here. It's not a typical Nate debate. Hey, that rhymed. If you were the number one overall recruit in something, basketball or football is really what we're talking about. Which school would you? I mean, you can have the option of going to any school.
Oh, and repeat the first part.
If you're the number one recruit, so you are,
in what's
either we usually just did either basketball or football.
Okay,
and you can choose the position.
Oh boy, where would I go?
Yeah, you could go anywhere.
Gosh, I would probably, and I can't go pro immediately.
No.
Let me see. Oh, that's kind of tough. If I wanted to win, basketball-wise, I'd probably go to Kansas.
Because as much as it pains me, I'd go to Duke.
Here's the thing, but Kansas doesn't have off years. Duke has, I mean, granted, a Duke off year is like a 4 seed.
Yeah, which is this year. You could consider this
And
but you get to play under Coach K. You
which
have
is
nice
great.
warm weather. They've proven in recent years they can send players
Well,
to the pros.
if you if you add weather into the equation, then sure, Duke probably is the
Yeah,
option.
it's part of my equation.
But says the person who went to Syracuse.
Yeah, don't
The
be
the
quiet.
the thing with Kansas, I feel like with the exception of Northern Iowa, Kansas, when you get to the tournament, because I'd want a team that is going to compete every year for a national title, right? And I feel like, and by the way, I think without question right now, it would be Alabama in football if you want to win.
Yeah, well, I also win, but I think just overall the best experience I see. If I were the number one recruit in football, assuming I'm a quarterback, I'd go to Stanford
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's another one.
because I also look at the
Some hard
education side of.
classes though.
Yeah, but true.
Yeah.
You get a great education. Go to Stanford. They're a great football program. They've proven with Andrew Luck,
Mm.
Jim Plunkett, and John Elway, they can send quarterbacks to the pros.
Mm.
Big Power 5 conference.
Yeah. No, I'm not arguing that. I think you have to be in right now at least. You want to talk about football? You have to be SEC, Big Ten, or Pac-12
Yeah,
at one of
there's
the power schools.
Unless you want to go to. Well, yeah. See, I wouldn't go to Clemson.
No, and I don't. I have trouble believing that Clemson will sustain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they had a great year, but I question when Deshaun Watson leaves.
Right. That's the thing. And I think they'll be good again this year, but 5 years down the road, it'll be someone else because it's ACC's gonna be a revolving door because we had Florida State a few years ago. Now it's Clemson, and it'll be someone else.
Yeah.
In a little while.
But I mean, as long as Saban's at Alabama, they'll be a top tier.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
team.
and recruiting wise, they get basically anybody they want. So.
Yep.
No, I agree with that. But, gosh, and again, honestly, in terms of not taking weather into account, I feel as if you are going to win a national championship, Kansas and Alabama right now are the best bets. Because Alabama will be a top 5 team. Right, that's almost guaranteed.
Yeah.
And Kansas, again, with the exception of Northern Iowa, doesn't lose. They don't get upset early in the tournament. Because they're consistently a Sweet 16 Elite 8 team. So, honestly, I agree. Like, Duke, if you're taking weather into account, like Duke and Stanford, I think are the two obvious picks. But in terms of consistency, in terms of championships, not saying that you couldn't win one with those two, I'd put my money on Duke or Kansas and Alabama. So yeah, I don't know.
I always like creating myself, or back when I could in NCAA football for Xbox, I'd always create myself as a quarterback. Get this gunslinger's arm out.
Oh God!
Throwing those 4 verticals.
This is good reference to the show. All right, let's move on. I am struggling to get through this. I'm tired. All right.
We're all tired.
Yeah.
It's the last week before spring break. We're all.
Yeah. All right. So what do you want to do? You want to do NFL? There's a lot of NFL.
There's a lot of NFL.
All right, let's do that.
Free agency. Half the league retired.
That's right. And because this might be one of the last times we really talk about, maybe even mention football till the draft.
Fine with me. I'm ready for baseball anyway.
Yeah. So just quickly, before we get to pay in, because we'll get to pay in, trades and free agent signings. The Eagles are in the process of getting rid of every memory of Chip Kelly. DeMarco Murray to the Titans.
Yeah, they re-signed Sam Bradford. So.
Well, they got to keep something.
Yeah.
Just a little. He's just there to remind them not to make that mistake again.
Yep.
DeMarco Murray to the Titans, which I like for Tennessee.
I like for DeMarco Murray too. They needed. Actually, I think it's a good deal for both sides. I mean, both Murray needed a fresh start.
It wasn't a good fit.
First of all, he never should have left Dallas behind that O-line.
Yeah.
I think he's a good running back. I'm not sure if he's a top 5 running back in the NFL, but he was given a ton of carries with Dallas and had the best offensive line in football to run behind.
He will get a ton of carries with Tennessee, and I think the real winner here is Marcus Mariota.
Oh, something other than him, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, which I think not necessarily makes their decision easier because they weren't exactly going to draft a running back, but by getting a running back, that reinforces the fact that they're working on the offense, which means they have to go Laremy Tunsil with that number 1 pick, or they trade it.
Right.
Because they have to protect Mariota and give Murray someone to run behind. So, if they go Bosa, it doesn't help out their offense. No. He's maybe the best player available, but
No, I agree with that. I think overall, at least Tennessee, it looks like they have a plan, which is more than what we could say about them in the last few years.
Yeah.
Right. All right. And also, Kiko Alonso gone.
Oh yeah,
to Miami, along with Byron
memory
Maxwell.
Of Chip Kelly is gone now.
Right.
For the most part.
Everybody's gone. Don't know if I like that as much. Kiko Alonso is a real good player. And it doesn't matter how good you are if you go to Miami. They're just going to... Miami has consistently been over the last few years the popular...
free agent
destination and also
which doesn't amount... let me tell you, because I'm sorry for cutting you off.
Go ahead. I think you're going in the same direction.
Being a Giants fan today was a big day. We signed half the league.
Yeah.
And spent an absurd amount of money. But, one of my friends down the hall is a big Giants fan as well, and he was pumped. Oh man, we got Janoris Jenkins. Oh, we got Damon Harrison. Oh, we got Olivier Vernon. Teams that win free agency I told him, be careful. It does not always translate to regular season success. Time and time again. How many times have the Buccaneers won free agency?
Multiple times. I can't come up with a number. 6 times.
They signed Carl Nix a while ago. They got Vincent Jackson. They got Alteron Werner last offseason. I know they've had more in there that I'm not thinking of right now, but they've done it multiple times. Like you said, Miami got Ndamukong Suh last year. They've gotten Mike Wallace in years past. This year, they lose Olivier Vernon, but I'm not.
Yeah, you need to have, and it seems like a lot of those teams who do that, Miami included. And the thing I was going to say about Miami is they're always a popular pick, right? To finally break through.
Yes.
And be a double-digit win team. They never do.
If Brady leaves, they're not going to win that division.
Because here's the thing. First of all, I think Tannehill is a good statistical quarterback, but in terms of winning games, doesn't win enough. He hasn't proven that he's a winner yet.
Yeah.
And I don't
exactly think he's been given. I mean, yeah, he had Brandon Marshall actually, was he even there when they had Brandon Marshall? No, Brandon Marshall was with the Bears at that time.
Right.
Well, but I don't think he's a bad quarterback.
He's not bad. He's fine. He's just can't, go 10-6 or 11-5.
Yeah. But again, it's easier said than done in that it's a strong division now.
It is a strong division, but it's a strong division where actually I can't believe the Jets had a good year last year. It's a strong division in theory, but inevitably at least 2 of the teams will underperform.
Yeah, on paper, it's a much stronger division than it actually is.
But the Dolphins, the problem with them. And this
they don't draft well.
They don't draft well, and they don't have a winning scheme.
They don't have a winning mentality.
That's the best way I can put it. Because, listen, here, who are the dominant teams in the NFL consistently? It's New England, Pittsburgh, Green Bay, right?
Well, Seattle
recently. And they all have this scheme that they come up with, and they stick to it, right? And anybody they bring in, they force to learn
Let's say they bring in people to fit their scheme. Miami brings in the best talent available and keeps changing schemes.
Exactly. And that's why they're, not a playoff team. And that's why, as good as Kiko Alonso is, and as decent as Byron Maxwell is, and they also signed Mario Williams. As good as they are, it's not going to matter if they don't have a consistent. It's a mishmash of players. You're getting the best players on the market and not necessarily the players who fit your system, which is understandable because they don't have a system.
Yeah.
And until they do that, they're not going to compete. Not going to compete. I don't think anyone's could compete with New England right now within the division. But even,
and
7 years down the road, it's still not going to compete.
Nate's in Nicaragua right now.
Oh, really?
Yes. Don't. Well,
I wasn't going to.
I don't know if he has access to the internet / social media, anything.
Yeah.
I don't know if he knows that Matt Forte just went to the Jets and that Damon Harrison left. But I know for a fact, the second he gets back and sees the Jets got Matt Forte, it's going to become they're the favorites in the AFC East, and I cannot wait for the Patriots to win that division again.
Well, but here's the thing about that.
I don't think it makes Matt Forte. I don't think Matt Forte makes that team that much better because it wasn't a need.
No, the running game was fine, and honestly, Forte was a good player. Might make him worse. That was a great.
Ivory was the guy there.
He was one of the most underrated players in the NFL. That smash mouth style of running was perfect for the Jets because it complemented Fitzpatrick in the passing game. Forte doesn't change things. It's a passing league, right?
They need a quarterback.
How many years has Adrian Peterson been in Minnesota, and how many years have they made the playoffs? Right?
Been in there. Let's see. He came in the 2007 draft, and so they've been 9. And they've made it 3 times.
3 times, right? If it was a running
one because Brett Favre somehow became like 2004 Brett Favre.
Right. If it was a run-first league, Minnesota would win that division every year. But they don't, and the reason why is because it's not a running league, it's a passing league. So I don't think it's a great pickup. And I don't think he's going to play poorly, but
I like Matt Forte a lot. I just don't think that was the right move for the Jets.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Exactly.
I think he's a great player, and I think he fits well in certain. Like personally, the dude, he would be perfect in New England. A pass catching back with the shiftiness and experience, the veteran experience. Bill Belichick would love the guy. Never had a character issue. Can catch the ball out of the backfield. Runs the ball between the tackles and is quick on the outside. So he can do a lot. But
Patriots don't want to spend the money.
Well, yeah, but because they don't need it.
Too high. And they don't need him. Yeah, Deion Lewis is there.
Yeah, I mean they don't need it, so they're not going to sign him. But he would fit perfectly in that scheme. He's perfect for that type of offense.
Right. Exactly. I agree with that completely. Yeah. So I guess only time will tell, but it's the Jets, so inevitably something will go wrong.
I'll say inevitably they'll be close and mess up somehow.
Either close to no cigar or way off the pace.
Yeah, or they'll But here's my question: if they fail to re-sign Ryan Fitzpatrick, what is the quarterback situation in the NFL right now? Because
they've got to sign him.
Osweiler gets a huge deal from Houston.
That was a good signing.
He's gone now. So where does Denver, the reigning Super Bowl champions, go? I mean, you need a quarterback to be successful.
I know.
And
more questions than answers. Did they go after Fitzpatrick?
Do they sign RG3? Or do they go after Fitzpatrick? Do they trade for Kaepernick? But then if Fitzpatrick leaves New York, does RG3 go to New York, which would create the biggest circus in the history of the world?
The most.
Listen, my prediction: Denver brings back Tebow.
The most Jets thing to do in this situation, and if I know the Jets, I wouldn't be surprised if this happens. Fitzpatrick, they don't re-sign Fitzpatrick. He goes to Denver, and they get RG3.
Yeah.
And he gets injured in week 1. and it's a
And
disaster.
that's Geno Smith again.
And then it's back to Geno Smith.
Back to square one.
Back to square one, exactly. That would be the most Jets thing. If they're smart, they stick with Fitzpatrick. Because, listen, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And
Yeah.
Fitzpatrick did.
He did great things for them. I think
He did.
he fit perfectly in what they were trying to do.
Now,
I think that you looked at statistically last year, Marshall and Decker were one of, if not the best duos at receiver in the NFL.
And listen, it's not. He's not a quarterback that can win the Jets the division. But
No,
he is
but he
a
can get them
quarterback.
into the playoffs.
Right. And that's why he should stay.
And there's no better option out there right now. It's not like they're going to trade for Aaron Rodgers.
No, you're right. There is no better option.
Don't abandon Fitzpatrick because it's not like he's looking for a 6-year deal. I mean, how old is Ryan Fitzpatrick? Ryan Fitzpatrick.
He's in his 30s. Do you want me to look?
Is 33.
Oh, do you know?
He's 33.
Okay, you know.
Yeah, I just looked it up.
33.
So he's going to be looking for a short-term deal. And are you going to draft Carson Wentz or Jared Goff? No, you're not.
No, they're
Don't
not high
jump
enough
the
in the
gun
draft.
now. Stick with Fitzpatrick. You're a young enough team that, Marshall is their best player.
Yeah.
Or at least on the offense side of the ball. Made a huge difference. He's only 31. You'll get 3 more years of what you should at least of like elite production out of him, unless he becomes Larry Fitzgerald and he'll play forever.
Yeah.
But they're young enough defensively with Williams, Richardson, and Wilkerson, and even David Harris is only 32.
Right.
That's kind of old.
Well,
But they're young enough where they don't need to win this year or it's over. So go with Fitzpatrick for another year or two and see if something better pops up.
The goal for the Jets is a playoff berth. They're not this isn't a team that's going to compete for a Super Bowl in the next few years.
Unless they make significant improvements offensively. Their defense could win a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Yes, with the proper offense.
Yes. And I like Todd Bowles a lot. I think he brings a certain
I do too.
mental
I thought he did a great job last year.
Accountability to the Jets, but there are some missing pieces, and Matt Forte was not the missing piece.
Yeah, I agree with that. Okay, quickly move on. All right, any other signings you want to bring up before we?
No, the Giants overpaid for everybody, but you have to overpay to fill holes.
Correct.
And they still have plenty of other holes on that team. They're not they aren't a contender right now. But I'd like to see what they do in the draft before really looking at it.
Right.
They still need help on the right side of the offensive line. They could use some more help in the secondary. They could use some more help at linebacker. They could use some more help at running back. They could use some more help as another receiver. I know they have Odell, but the contract situation Cruz isn't exactly there. So they have enough holes. They're not going to be a contender next year, but it's a good.
Well, they'll compete for the division. I had a conversation today which sums up the NFC East perfectly, and what we said was every team every year has a 25% chance of winning the NFC East.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe not a Super Bowl contender, but at least they'll compete for that. Let me quickly bring up Houston because they signed Lamar Miller and Brock Osweiler. Does Osweiler, and DeAndre Hopkins must be the happiest person in the world. He finally has someone throwing to him. With that defense, which is one of the better defenses in the AFC, and that 30-0 score against Kansas City in the wild card game was misleading because the offense essentially gift wrapped. It was like 17 or 24 of those points to Kansas City. Does Osweiler, if he performs the way he did when he was on top of his game, when he was playing for Denver, when like the first half against Pittsburgh, or when they were playing New England, or Chicago. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm still not sold on him. I'll give you that.
But I'm not either. Completely agree. But if he plays, if he, let's say he plays at least to a similar level, right? Is Houston a contender for that division again?
think they're a contender for the division. I don't think they'll win it because I still think Andrew Luck's the best young quarterback in the NFL, but I think there's no way Indianapolis can be as bad as they were last year coming back with a healthy Luck. As long as they find somebody to protect them.
Right.
I mean, that's their issue. Well, other than the defense, which is they have a terrible GM. They've just made, and actually just looking at it now, just referencing your point about the 25% chance to win the NFC East, there has not been a back-to-back winner in the NFC East since 2003, 2004, when the Eagles won it 2 years in a row. Well, 4 years. That was years 3 and 4 of a 4-year stretch.
This is the McNabb era.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so I buy that. I buy that with Houston. And that really, to me, is a wait-and-see situation because I think not all the pieces are there offensively, but they're kind of on they're on the right track.
Yeah, I think a lot of teams again that are signed big names in free agency are on the right track. They're very rarely. I mean, it does happen, but do you have a team that's a contender, like a Green Bay, New England, Carolina, someone like that, who has the one missing piece and addresses it in free agency?
Right.
So I think a lot of the major free agent moves you see are teams with cap space, Giants, who are going to rebuild through the draft. You don't win championships in free agency. You win you win championships by drafting well. But you can also complement drafting well with signing key free agents to deals, which is what the Giants did. So they need to rebuild through the draft, but free agents can't hurt.
Right. Speaking of a team that does not have it all together and might not be in the trend, might not be trending in the right direction, Detroit Lions. But I don't want to talk about the Lions. I want to talk about Calvin Johnson. Specifically, because he is retired, and good for him retiring early.
Yeah, I have no problem with it.
Right. 9-year career, set 15 NFL records. Is he a Hall of Famer?
He should be. I think he is. He won't get in on the first ballot because it's harder for receivers to get in on the first ballot anyways. That's Nate's argument against Larry Fitzgerald, is that he doesn't think Fitzgerald would get in on the first ballot.
I could see that.
Well, it's different than baseball. He even argues, like, I wouldn't even be surprised if Fitzgerald gets in on, or doesn't get in on. Like, if Larry Fitzgerald is not a Hall of Famer, then you should just tear the entire building down.
It is easier in football generally.
And
it's because statistics aren't as big of a deal.
Well, you have positions that don't even keep stats, like an offensive lineman. You just judge it on Pro Bowls, I guess.
Pancakes.
Yeah, the ultimate Madden stat, pancakes.
I don't put as much stock in the NFL Hall of Fame as I do MLB Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
but I mean, for my money, he has to be, right?
Yeah, I mean,
just statistics alone, and we both have the eye test.
You could argue that talent-wise and performance-wise, for a stretch there from 11 to 13, he was the best player in football.
Oh no, yeah, he was the most. It
was either him or Peterson.
No, I think it was Calvin Johnson for like a 3 or 4 year stretch. They triple covered him. He still caught the ball.
Well, when you're 6'5", 239, and run a 4.3, I'm not exactly sure what else you're supposed to do.
Could jump out of the building. It was crazy.
Yeah. I honestly, I think you're going to see more and more players retire early.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think over the next few years, or not necessarily a few years, but in the future, you'll see a NFL Hall of Fame which doesn't look at longevity nearly as. And again, what's our thing about the MLB Hall of Fame is that you have to have 6 or 7, 8 Hall of Fame years.
Or you flex a little down if they were dominant in the postseason, or they were like Sandy Koufax and just unbelievably dominant.
Johnson's got 7 out of 9 years are Hall of Fame years.
In football,
playing on a terrible Detroit Lions.
But football's different. Football's different, though. I mean, I guess if you were looking at it like baseball, he probably still would be in because he was so dominant for a little while.
Yeah.
But football's a different animal.
I
I think
think
he's in.
he should be.
And generally, NFL players have shorter careers,
Yes,
unless you're a
but I
quarterback or a
think you're not
kicker.
going to look at. I think you're not going to look at longevity the same way.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. And I
Um,
think he's in. He probably should be first ballot.
I
But
think he and Fitzgerald, maybe Andre Johnson, are the three best receivers of this.
yeah,
Like when we're growing up. I mean, I'm not going to include Moss in that. I think he was past his
he was a little before.
time by the time that we got in here.
Yeah. All right. Final NFL note. Peyton Manning.
What about him?
Retired,
Thank
18
God.
years. Right. Completely. Could not agree more. 18 years. I thought he'd give a classy, or like goodbye speech.
Yeah,
I guess not really much to say. Just I think you said it. Just thank God he retired.
yeah. I mean, I think he knew he couldn't do it anymore. But the toughest thing for any athlete to do was say they can't. Um, Health wise, it's best for him to stop. Finally gets his time, spend some time with his two kids.
Yeah.
Um, so, I mean, he has absolutely nothing left to prove. Nothing. I mean, you think about it, you see some of the comments that people leave on articles, living in the social media age. Oh, that Brady will break it. Now that he's going to win another Super Bowl and break all of his records, which may be true. Brady, yes, he didn't miss a year, but he also didn't come back from 4 neck surgeries. And Peyton Manning statistically, and this is where if you don't include championships and like those intangibles, when I look at quarterback, being able to deliver the ball to the receivers and score points, and accurately and make throws. If that's what, there's no and recognize the defense. There's no better quarterback in the history of the NFL than Peyton Manning. But he kind of lost that ability when it got cold and was playing into the playoffs.
Aiden, you okay, that was a nice little monologue there. I I don't know if it's gonna show up on the recording, but your mouth and voice were totally out of sync.
That's quite funny, actually.
So it's better now. Okay. Oh gosh, do you what? I don't. Do you really want? It's kind of late. Do you sure you want to? I don't know if I want to get into the best quarterback debate.
No, we're not going to get into that. But I'm saying he's top 3 in my opinion.
He's top 5.
He's top 5 for sure.
Oh yeah.
Who would you? Let me just. And I'm not going to debate it. I want to hear your top 3.
My top 3? Gosh, well, that's again. The only members of the top 5 that I ever saw play are Brady and Manning.
Yes, and I know it's tough for us because I'm 18. You're 18, or you're 19.
I'm 19.
Oh yeah, you're 19 now. You're an old man.
That's right. Well, I'll give you my top 5 based on footage that I've seen, and again,
And stats.
And stats. For me, in the NFL, stats only go so far. Like, you have to win consistently, which is why if he won consistently and he had a ring or two, Marino would probably be one.
Yeah. No, if Marino wins a Super Bowl, he's top 5 guaranteed.
He's top 5. I think he's top 5 the way the way he is. Here's my top 5. No particular order. Ready? In alphabetical order, so I don't sound biased. Ready?
By first name or last name?
By last name. Gotta make sure I get this right. Oh God. So it would be Brady, Elway, Marino. I already messed it up. Manning, Marino, Montana.
That's my top 5.
Okay, so honestly,
with Johnny Unitas at 6.
Honestly, doesn't matter though. Like,
no,
I mean they're all. I think Marino's 5. It might be separated from the others a little bit because he never won a championship.
Yeah,
but at least the top 4 are, and while they have different skill sets, I mean they're right there with one another. And honestly, especially with us, like I'm a Patriots fan, and I grew up with Brady, so obviously bias here. You grew up a huge Peyton Manning fan, so you're a huge Peyton Manning fan. So there's no way that I'm going to put Manning ahead of Brady, and there's no way you're going to put Brady ahead of Manning. Which is why...
Going this year, I put Brady ahead of Manning. I think I may. I think I still may, but I think they're 1 and 2.
Well, okay, well, the exception proves the rule. To really have the discussion, you need to have two people as completely unbiased as possible, which is tough because Brady is generally not liked.
Yeah.
And you need to have them discuss it. Though I'm sure we will have this conversation in the future, but when it comes down to it, like that top 4 or 5 is,
it's not a bad. You're not bad if you're the number 6 quarterback of all time.
Right.
I'd like to be Dan Marino.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I'd like to have Dan Marino's skill set. I'll say that. All right. So I think that pretty much wrap it up for the NFL, right?
Yeah.
Manning retires. Calvin Johnson retires.
What a weird year as far as retirement. Charles Woodson, Marshawn Lynch, Jared Allen, Peyton Manning, Calvin Johnson.
Yeah, that's a good point.
We're losing the NFL, man.
Yeah, well, new era. Dawn of a new era. Okay, baseball quickly. The only real... And there's obviously a ton of news, but the only pressing issue is Aroldis Chapman. This happened a little while ago, but we haven't had a show since he got suspended. When we talked initially, it was 50 games, right?
Yeah.
We were saying he gets 30 games, no appeal. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, as a Yankees fan, I kind of wanted 46 because then we get another year of him. But I think, I mean, it's a tough situation for Manfred.
I think he did a good job. I think he did a great job.
Yeah, I mean, he has to make a statement or else he looks weak because it's the first year of the new domestic violence policy.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't get charged with anything by the police. And he's never actually, there's no, like, criminal action against him. It's just based on whatever.
Yeah.
For example, when Jose Reyes, who's actually on trial for this, gets his suspension, that's when you'll see what you actually... This is a statement by Major League Baseball, like, all right, this is the first one. We're going to set off, we can't suspend him for a year because then,
And there was no...
Like, we didn't even, there's no proof that he actually did anything.
That was the thing. I'm knocking stuff over here. That was the thing. There was no actual... proof that he did. It was never proven that he did it.
Yeah, he admitted to firing a weapon or firearm in his garage. Right. He said he never actually hurt. He never hurt anyone.
Yeah, and I think good job for him for not appealing. I think that was overall is the right thing to do.
Yeah, and I think he did it for the right reasons. It would have been a distraction for New York. It would have been A-Rod Part 2.
Agreed.
Maybe not to that magnitude, but it just draws the thing out.
I said agreed without really hearing what you said. I don't. Well, but this is a more serious issue. Let's be honest, than A-Rod.
But I'm saying the circus around it.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yes.
Just get it over with. And here's my thing. Somebody wrote an article. Can the Yankees bullpen survive without Aroldis Chapman?
Did you watch them last year?
No, they were only what was it 66-3 when trailing or when winning after 6 innings last year. I don't think that bullpen can handle it anymore. It's like they have Andrew Miller, they have Dellin Betances, two of the. It's a great question. Ranking relievers because the Yankees have 3 of the top 6 in my opinion.
But that always last year, and I guess even this year, if Chapman closes, which he should, if he could prove that he can control, if he has control, then he should close.
Yeah.
Right. So you have one guy throwing 97 in Miller, right?
Yeah, he'll sit in the mid-90s, top out, really 97, maybe 98.
So you got 95, 97. And then Betances, who throws even harder.
Betances sits 96 to 100.
Right. And then you've got Chapman, who
sits 98 to 103.
somehow throws even harder than that. That's almost
Yeah,
unfair.
it's just slowly increasing.
The saving grace for baseball is that rotation is inexperienced and injury prone, depending on who you look at, and the offense is injury prone and aging, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I honestly, I mean, we'll do this in our baseball
Yeah.
preview show, but there, the AL East is a weird division.
It's
I don't
weird.
think no one's a clear favorite.
Baltimore's
No
looking a
matter-
lot better all of a sudden.
They are, but I still don't think they win it. I think Tampa Bay is clearly the weakest team in the division.
Yeah. Even though they might have the best pitcher in the division, though.
Oh, and Archer?
Yes.
Yeah, he's up there.
I think he might be better than Price, to be honest.
I want to. Yeah, I mean, I'll take Price's track record, but I love Chris a lot. But I think Boston wins the offseason on paper, like they've done for the past seems like decade.
Yeah. But they did a better job this year. At least it was more about the players and not about the names or like how the players fit in.
Yeah, yeah. Somewhat.
I'm not talking Price. I'm talking Carson Smith and Chris.
Well, yeah,
Young.
I think I'm telling you right now that was the best deal they made.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
Carson Smith deal,
and you are able to unload Wade Miley.
Yeah,
I thought that was great, and that their pitching.
They won't finish in last again this month.
No, I think they're on paper they're the best team in the division.
Yeah,
and if their young pitchers are, and again, you're right. We'll talk about this first week of April, but if their young pitchers progress this year, if Eduardo Rodriguez is probably going to start the year on the DL, but if he comes back and throws well, and if Henry Owens is there, and they have a lot of pitchers, a lot of potential starters. If they come along and are able to start pitching midseason, then I think they clearly win the division.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But Aroldis Chapman, 30 games. Good for Rob Manfred, who is the best.
I honestly think, I mean, he knows he could have gotten a lot worse. He accepted it, so whatever. It's not really going to hurt him all that much, as long as nothing else comes out. And then it's not going to hurt the Yankees all that much, and it makes baseball look good. So I don't think it's a story, but it's really
it's I think again proving that he's the best commissioner of the four major sports. Though I think Adam Silver probably is there too, except for possibly putting company logos on the NBA uniforms.
Yeah, don't.
No. NBA quickly. Warriors lose to the Lakers in the upset of the century.
And you knew Kobe, and I love the videos of Kobe's face. Everyone else is celebrating. D'Angelo Russell's freaking out because like Jordan Clarkson hit a 3, and Kobe just standing in the background on the bench, looking about as unimpressed as he ever is, and because he knows nobody's won it. Oh, you guys are beating the Warriors. Great. Tell me when you have 5 rings.
Yeah. Warriors, in order to finish the season with the record, they can only lose 3 more games. Right? I believe they have to go 17-3 now.
Yes.
Will they do it? Because I think we both agree that they can do it. But will they break the record?
I think they do because I have hope.
The eternal optimist.
They have to go to San Antonio twice.
Yeah.
That hurts. But I think they've proven they can beat San Antonio. And I think what helps them is San Antonio, I don't think is their biggest fear. Because I don't think Popovich and Tim Duncan and those guys care about the regular season. They'll stick with their number 2 seed. They'll,
right now. Yeah,
they'll get rest for Duncan, and Duncan will play like 10 minutes a game in the regular season and then be scoring 20 and 10 in the postseason. Because somehow, some way.
Dallas is a tough game for me.
At Dallas, going at Minnesota could be I mean, until
we'll
they do,
see.
I can't see them losing at home.
No, I agree with that.
So they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 more road games. And
what, 14 more home games?
yeah,
So,
I think they get it, but that's me.
No, boy, we haven't
I
disagreed
kind of
on
hope
a
they
whole
do
lot.
actually,
I
and I hope
no,
they do it.
I hope they do it too.
Game.
I hope they do it too, and I hope they win. I hope they either. I hope first of all, I hope they win it or not win it, but I hope they break the record and either get swept in the first round by like the Jazz or somebody, or go on and win it all.
Yeah,
Because finally we will be able to have the discussion of, are the 95-96, it was 95-96, right?
yes.
I always get that wrong. 95-96 Bulls, are they the best team of all time? Or is it the 15-16 Warriors?
And people will say different era, which it is. I mean, it's not the same era. Basketball isn't played the same way, but
It's a different era, but just, it's like...
Have we ever seen a team do it? These guys just... I've never seen anything like this.
No, and we probably won't see it again for
It's just like,
another 30 years.
I'm saying basketball's changing where, people look at LeBron, oh, he can't shoot. Well, in the old days, you didn't really, it would help if you could shoot, but like LeBron fits in better in old time basketball than Curry does.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And Curry, I don't know, LeBron.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine Curry pre 3-point line, just like chucking up the ball for no reason?
Oh yeah. Which, by the way, fun fact: I had my best shooting performance I think I've ever had in a game, in a pickup game here. We were down, playing a 15, we're playing 4-on-4 half court, and 3-pointers count as 2. 3-pointers count as 2s. Everything else is a 1, and we're down 11-5, and we get the ball. We're playing winners, and I hit a 3 from the wing, so it's 11-7 now.
Right.
Next play, you have to pass it off. You have to pass it off.
I understand how to play pickup basketball.
All right, I'm just making sure because I didn't know that before coming here.
Oh, really?
And I didn't know you. I thought you could just if you checked it and you had a shot, I thought you could take it.
Oh, I remember I did that once. I got chewed out.
That was like my first week here. They're like, you have to pass it on. I'm like, oh, well, I didn't know that. So now it's 11-7, and I hit kind of an off balance, leaning to the right 3 from the same wing. It's 11-9. Next one, goes around a bit, gets tipped back out to me at the top of the key, and I hit a 3. So I've made 3 in a row. It's now tied 11-11.
Do you have to win by 2? Do you play that?
Yes.
Okay. Right.
But we're playing at 15.
Right.
And so winners, so it's still our ball. Next one, we work the ball around a lot. I get an open shot, again, kind of towards the top of the key, and I hit it. So now I've hit 4 straight. The last one was kind of contested.
Did you clank the 5th one?
No. And the next possession, I work it around a bit, and somebody else takes a shot, like, from the side, and it gets tipped back out towards midcourt, like almost backcourt, and I chase it down. So I'm right at the midcourt, and I'm telling you right now, dumbest shot I've ever taken.
All right.
But I was feeling it. I just hit 4 straight. Like, I'm feeling pretty hot right now.
Right.
And a kid on my team, as soon as he saw me go into my shooting motion, I heard him just go, no. I would have done the same thing. And I counted it off after I hit it, like how far it was. It was from about 28 and a half feet. I pulled up and I hit it 5 in a row.
Curry range, man.
That was, I was like, I'm telling you right now, I don't pull up from, why would I pull up from that far?
Feeling it, man. That's what you got to do.
But that was my week.
That was your week. The highlight of your week.
I was really feeling.
Yeah, 5-3, or I guess 2 is in this case. Yeah. That's something to be proud of.
Basic.
Good for you, Aiden. Proud of you.
Yeah.
I didn't see it, so I'm not sure I believe you. But,
Thank you.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah. We're on a bit of a. We're having technological issues, so we're on a bit of a delay. That's okay. All right. So quickly,
It happens.
All right. Maria Sharapova. Last thing. Uh,
I don't think it's a huge deal because it's something she had been taking her entire life. And she
you believe her? Of course, you believe her. Let me tell you something, Aiden.
what she's taken her
Listen,
entire life, and
Aiden.
it's a substance that was banned in January, and she failed the test in January.
Right.
So
I'm teasing you. I
don't have.
and she had been taking it for what was it, 10 years?
Yeah. I mean, it's not a great thing. Like,
I'm not sure why.
Should have stopped, but like, it's also not the end of the world.
I probably wouldn't have noticed either. Yeah, I don't think, and I think she handled it well.
Yeah, like she does.
Yeah,
she always does.
I'm just gonna say this: if this was Serena Williams, you would be calling for her to be banned for a year. Banned for life.
That's what happens when you threaten the life of a line judge and you're consistently arrogant and rude. You lose the benefit of the doubt.
I'm sorry I brought it up. All right, that's a bit of I don't think there is. I don't think there's much more to say about Sharapova, honestly.
No, she's still a great tennis player.
It's been surprising, honestly, to me how little this is. Like how it's not. How do I say this? It's not been a big deal. Like the reports I've seen are more reporting what happened rather than offering negative opinions.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Which seems kind of unusual for a steroid story. Yeah. But I think you're right. I think Sharapova gets the benefit of the doubt. So, I don't know. I'm losing steam here, and you need to go eat. So let's do 4 verticals. We'll end it a little early.
I have a great 4th vertical, by the way, so just be prepared.
We probably shouldn't do this Wednesday nights anymore.
No, we should. Wednesday nights are poor nights.
Yeah, well, this was a necessity this time, so that's all right.
Yes.
Okay, so 4
and
verticals.
We'll be back this weekend or whenever with Eric.
Monday. We're gonna. That's right, Eric. Yeah, so we'll have our friend, our hoops insider, Eric Poyon on. I think
lives and breathes basketball.
Yeah, I think we'll probably do it Monday, so we have a night to look at the bracket.
When do you go to Florida?
What do you mean? When do I go to Florida?
Don't you leave?
No, I'm going to Massachusetts.
You're spending all of spring break on the Cape.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going somewhere.
There was a thought, there was a hope, but never materialized.
You want to do that? You want to do that debate?
What debate? No? What debate?
With the Dukes.
That's a different topic. This is not show topic. This is a different topic. If we're doing 4 verticals, we'll talk about it later. 4 verticals. Right. Okay. I'll give you mine right now. I have 1 vertical.
Wow.
And that is championship week. Cause
I say my first one was the ACC tournament because I planned this for Sunday and I was like, let's see if Syracuse can actually win a game. And then
how'd that turn out for you, buddy?
Yeah. So I guess mine will be the championships of the tournaments this week. So
okay, that's
my first one.
Okay, listen, because the Champions League already happened today and yesterday, and it's all. I don't know. It's kind of we're in the. Go watch college basketball this week. It's a great college basketball week.
That is true.
Watch the tournaments. Have some fun.
See if UConn actually loses.
I will say this is the worst 4 verticals ever. That actually, I have 2 verticals actually. Here's my second selection show.
Yeah.
Sunday night. Go watch that.
It's entertaining for like 10 minutes.
It is entertaining. Well, it lasts they drag it out. Do they know?
Yeah, well, they drag out everything.
When they're sitting at the table, do they know, or do they like get an envelope?
That's a good question. I guess we'll have to make it there to find out.
Yeah, I don't. That's a good point. All right, what are your other verticals? Because you apparently have
Saturday night. The Thunder play at the Spurs.
Oh yeah,
2 of the best teams in the NBA.
NBA
top 4 teams.
Western,
Durant and Kawhi Leonard going at it. Westbrook, Tony Parker.
Western Conference semifinal preview. Kawhi Leonard, for my money, is the top 5 player in the NBA.
Ooh, See, I've had this debate too. I put him at 6.
I don't know. Who's ahead of him?
I put LeBron, Curry, Durant,
All right.
Westbrook, and Anthony Davis.
Huh.
I'm a big Westbrook guy,
It's
so
tough to argue with that. It's kind of interchangeable, I suppose. Him and Westbrook.
love Westbrook.
Yes.
Um, Then my third vertical.
Oh yeah, wait, that's what we're.
Blackhawks at Stars Friday. Top 2
Ooh.
teams in the Western
That
Conference in the NHL.
that is intriguing, actually.
So that's mine. Defending champion Blackhawks,
Mm-hmm.
as it seems like they always are.
Yeah.
And then my fourth vertical.
Number
This
4.
Saturday, 1:00, the gym at Nauset Regional High School
God.
in Northeast Ham. The Toon Squad returns. Billingsgate tournament is this weekend.
Oh, is it really?
Yes, sir.
Local basketball
Be
tournament.
there or be square. We are the 2-time defending high school champions. We went 1-1 in the adult tournament last year. As all high schoolers playing against much tougher competition. I'm coming back this year in the adult league. Big Tim Doyle's coaching again. Greatest coaching.
I'm gonna be on a train. Are you gonna be there?
Oh yeah, I'm going back. I'm either going back tomorrow night or Friday.
Oh.
Because my one class on Friday got canceled, so I can.
Lucky.
I don't know what. I haven't bought a ticket yet. I don't know how I'm getting home yet.
Enjoy that. What is it? An 8-hour bus ride or something?
Yeah, it's not going to be pleasant, but yeah.
All right.
All right.
I think that's it. I end early so you can get something to eat and I can go to bed in a little bit.
All right.
So so that's this is, what is the show called? This has been the Chirp episode 4.
Wow.
I'm sorry. The next episode we're gonna do Monday after Selection Sunday. Talk college basketball. Have our
boy Eric Poy on.
Yes, our hoops insider Eric will hopefully join us. That's the plan, anyway.
Have we actually mentioned this?
No, I talked to him about a while ago. I'll
figure it out.
Yeah, I'll talk to him. So we'll just we'll go over the bracket, do some picks, games to watch, all that fun stuff. And okay, so we'll see you in, what is it, 5 days from now?
Yeah, I'll see you in like 3 days.
That's right. Okay.
Wait, when do you get back?
I am coming back on Saturday night.
You want to do something Sunday?
I'll let you know.
All right, you can come over and watch the selection show.
Oh yeah, that's the thing.
You can watch me cry when Syracuse goes to the NIT.
Oh, I don't think you're gonna care that much. I feel like you'll be more devastated if UNC isn't a 1 seed.
No, they don't deserve to be. Although that win at Duke was big.
Even if they win ACC tournament.
All right, we'll get them.
Okay, well,
to be determined.
We'll see what happens. All right, we'll see you in 5 days. Go watch Championship Week, and for Aodhan Doyle.
Go Toon Squad.
There you go. I'm Noah Johnson, and we'll see you next week.